welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already, hit the like, share, subscribe button for me. Join the VSOP Club, turn on all post notifications for me so you're in tune when I drop a video. Today's video is going to be about really just an ownership review on the car, what you should expect maybe if you want to buy one, but really how the car has been, how it is to drive, and all of that. So also I'll update those who haven't been watching what we've done to the car in terms of getting it roadworthy and some of the little extras that we've done. So yeah, let's go. First, okay, owning this car. Okay, now where do I start? Engine wise, okay, this car, when we first bought the car, and let me get out and actually give you guys a visual of it. Here we go. First time, I think. No, I did get a sunny video. But here is the car. It is emerald metallic green, I believe that's the color. Sometimes it looks black, a lot of the time it looks green, different shades of green, up until like that bright. As you can see in the video, some parts are probably gonna look black. So we did end up putting these wheels on. These are MAE Mach 1 wheels. MAE OZ Mach 1 wheels. So if you guys are familiar with the tuner world, a lot of the tuner guys will know. Well, I've seen this wheel on a lot of Skylines, the Riversides, MAE Riversides. So those are really the most popular ones. They're actually cheapest ones. And when I say cheapest, don't think that I mean it's a cheap wheel, because it's not by far. But usually that's the most common one. This is the original one. It's actually a tuning company that went out of business in the early 2000s. They actually started in the very early 90s. So they made these wheels specifically they made these wheels specifically for a Mercedes. They did make, I don't know if they made the original OZ Futuras or OZ Futuras were the original ones, but they did make a wheel that looked like that as well. It's slightly different, but it definitely, they definitely look similar. So, okay, MAE, a little bit of background about MAE. They made these wheels, Mach 1s, they made Crown Jewels, they made Crownias, again, the Futura style, which I forget the name of, and I think they made a newer wheel recently. They don't really make too many wheels too frequently, and when they do, they usually stick around for a long time. They become very sought after. MAE also made springs for Mercedes and exhaust systems. Okay, they also did tune a few cars, a few Mercedes that actually do have numbers and special plaques and all that on the cars, usually on the piece of wood right here, or I've seen them on the door, like right there, not on the door, on the fender, sorry. So they did tune cars, give them plaques, the same as most of the other popular tuners in Germany. The only thing with MAE is that they went bust because of, from what I've seen on the internet, lawsuits that they had to file against another company that bootlegged the rim. Okay, so they bootlegged the rim. A lot of people bootlegged this rim. Giovanna bootlegged it with the Berlin. Keskin bootlegged it. SSR bootlegged it. Who else? There's another rim company I bootlegged, GSR, I think. I don't know if that's the name. There's quite a few people though that bootlegged this rim, the 6-window rim. But these are the original, the MAE ones, Mach 1s. So this one is the first. These are MAE wheels. They came from a company in the early 90s, guys. Another tuner company in Germany, similar to Brabus, Renzer, a little smaller. It's called MAE. They very well known in the Benz community. A lot of Benz guys, especially in the 90s, they know this wheel. The 80s, they know this wheel. This is the original first one, the Mach 1, first 6-window wheel. It was bootlegged heavily by different companies. It's still bootlegged today. So it was a very popular rim, very hard to find the original ones, the 3-piece. The monoblocks are a little bit more common. Those aren't even, easy to find. So again, MAE, similar to AMG in the fact that they started out tuning Mercedes. There are some SLs that I've seen that do have plaques similar to AMG. So they were fully tuned MAE cars with wheels, lower suspension, and engine. So they did also do the emblems on the engine the same way that AMG put the emblems on the pre-merger engines. So I have seen those. They do exist. They're very extremely rare. I don't believe there are any for sale right now. I haven't seen one for sale. So though I'm guessing that was when you brought the car into MAE, the garage, and the headquarters, and they fully tuned the car. This was in Germany, guys. I'm doubting we'll ever see an MAE car unless it's imported to the U.S. ever in the U.S. But yeah. So just a little bit of background on MAE. It never really from what I see, got the chance to really grow into a big company like AMG, Brabus, Lorenzer, because of a lot of the counterfeiting lawsuits and whatever whatever have you. So there is a lot of speculation as to really what happened with MAE. Sort of like, not really the drama, not as much drama as Jimbala, but definitely speculation as to what happened to a lot of these rims. Is the owner telling, a lot of these stories going around online. They're saying the owner is saying that, a lot of crazy stuff happened as to why this company really, it doesn't exist how it should. The mark was sold off to somebody, I believe, in America. They're still keeping the website alive, but as far as them producing Mach 1s, Crown Jewels, Crown Ears, all of the really sought after rims, I don't know if those will ever come back. I'm hoping they will, but as for now, it seems like, it's where it's at. So, again, I didn't plan on making this video about MAE, but I kind of was just in the mood for it. So, actually, I'm going to tell you guys also how a lot of these tuning companies were looked at in the 90s. Okay, again, I grew up with my parents, being into cars. My father was into Mercedes a lot. He's the one who actually, purchased these wheels back when they came out. So these wheels have been in the family for a very long time. And you can see they're, pretty good condition. So again, back to these tuning companies. So MAE, AMG, Brabus, Lorenzer, again, guys, back in the 90s, the 80s and 90s, a lot of these companies weren't looked at how they're looked at today. And when I say that, I mean this. Let me turn the car off. Waste gas. These cars, were a lot of people that bought these cars thought the original look of them was good enough. A lot of people didn't want to spend the money that the Arrows cost back in the day, the Brabus Monoblock 2s, the MAE Crown Jewels, and MAE Mach 1s. Okay, there were a few wheels that went with Mercedes if you wanted to go aftermarket, that were like the holy grail wheels, so to speak. This is one of them. The AMG Aero 2s, that's another wheel. The 3-piece wheel, that's another one. And there's a few other. I'm not going to go through the whole list, but you get the point. But again, back in the day, guys, a lot of these tuner companies, this is why so many pre-merger AMGs are rare. MAE Mercedes are rare. The rims are Mercedes. This is why all those cars are so rare. The body kits and the rims weren't rare, guys. Like, you can get that stuff. Wasn't really, if you knew where to look and you knew where to go and you were into cars. If you didn't know where to look and you weren't into cars, it was hard. You had to go through a dealer or something like that. And even the dealers used to sell an AMG. Certain dealers, not all Mercedes dealers. That's not the kind of deal I'm talking about. I'm talking about the exotic car dealer. So a lot of dealers, like in Miami. So they had a dealer called like the Toy Store. They had a dealer called Auto Panache. Dealers like that. A lot of where the drug lords, I guess, went. Those dealers had already went and ordered the AMGs or put certain things in a car to sell it. Okay, so like the Lamborghini Diablos back in the day, they didn't come sounding like F1 cars. They went and put Tubi exhaust on them, went and put Larini exhaust on them. The dealer did, and then they sold the car. You understand what I'm saying? So again, a lot of the tuner Mercedes back in the day, which they like to call now the pre-mergers, were not really sought after back in the day, and they weren't. The wide body SEC, the Koenig specials, a lot of the Koenig specials were hated back in the day. They weren't appreciated until recently. A lot of people that bought, SLs and SECs hated the Koenig specials because they just looked atrocious. They looked, like a lot, like, too much excess for some people. That's what some people would say. I do like some of the Koenig specials. I'm not a fan of all of them. The SL Koenig special, I'm not really a fan of. The SEC Koenig special is probably the only one in the Porsches, BMWs. Those are probably my favorite. The Porsche 8 Series and then Porsche 920, Porsche 8 Series, the BMW 8 Series Koenig special, the Porsche 928 Koenig special, probably two of my favorites. Outside of that, there's not too many, and outside of that in the SEC is not too many Koenigs that I even like. But back to the story. Again, a lot of these cars were not sought after. Okay, AMG pre-mergers, the three-piece wheels, the arrows. That's why a lot of this stuff is rare. Understand what I'm saying? Like, back in those times, guys, you could literally get anything built if you had the money. So it wasn't really a supply problem or scarcity problem like now. You know what I mean? It's back then you could just get anything built, but a lot of people didn't. They just didn't like the AMGs. It was if you wanted to go sporty, you got a Ferrari, you got a Lamborghini, you got a Porsche. Even the Porsche guys. The Porsches weren't really hot like that. And they weren't. Not if you had a Benz or you had a Rolls or something like that. Even the Italian cars weren't really like that until like really the Countach came out, and everybody couldn't drive a Countach, so it didn't, it only had a certain crowd for it, But again, back to the story. But again, the tuner Benzes, a lot of them. That's why you don't see a lot of pre-mergers. That's why you don't see a lot of Lorenzas, Brabus, old school from this era. Is because a lot of people didn't want to do that to the Mercedes. A lot of people didn't want to put these kind of wheels on the Mercedes. A lot of people thought they were too flashy. They didn't like the wheel. They thought it cost way too much money. Stuff like that. They didn't like the look of the three-piece look on a Mercedes. They didn't like the lip. So again, you had Mercedes had a different crowd of people back in the 90s and the 80s. Also because, car leasing wasn't as prevalent as it is today. So back in the 80s and the 90s, if you had, a German car, or you had an Italian car, an English car, you had a foreign car, it was different because you couldn't lease it. You had to really own it, and you did. So a lot of people didn't want to spend the extra money. A lot of people thought the car looked good as it is. That you see today at a lot of Mercedes car shows, most of them are stock. Most of them come with the AMG wheels or the stock Mercedes wheels. A lot of them, And then when I say the AMG wheels, I don't even mean the three-piece OZ wheels, really the OZ wheels, but I mean like the monoblock wheels. So again, that's why a lot of the stuff you don't see now, a lot of pre-mergers you don't see, because a lot of that stuff, guys, wasn't really sought after like it is now. Okay, it wasn't. I liked that kind of stuff back in the day. I liked AMG pre-mergers. I liked, three-piece wheels with the big lip. Okay, you know, and I did. But again, I'm gonna do a video on where all of this actually comes from, because I've seen a lot on the internet, a lot of you guys, talking this stance and all of this like y'all really don't even know where a lot of this comes from. The three-piece lips and having big lips and stretched tires and and a lot of y'all do not know where it comes from. So I'm gonna do a video on that, really, because it's kind of not fair in the car world that a lot of people are getting credit for this, lowering the cars and tucking, like, this stuff came out in the 80s, guys, and it did. This is not new. This is not my generation creating something. This is very, you can see even by the wheels were made in the 90s, like, so for my generation to really start claiming and putting titles on it and all of this stuff is I don't know. And then they don't even say really where the origin for a lot of this stuff comes from. So I'm gonna do a whole video on that, the origin, all of this, really when I call what I want to call an uptown look, a lot of this look came from uptown. It's the three-piece lowering the car, with the custom seats inside of cargo seats. A lot of that stuff came from uptown in Harlem. A lot of that stuff came from uptown New York, New York City. I don't hear a lot of credit being given, so I'm gonna I'm gonna do a video on that, and so we can, try to at least put some correct information out there. But again, hit the like, share, subscribe button, join the VSOP Club, turn on all post notifications for me. If you like this kind of content, we got more Benz content coming. Again, we got the E350, that's coming next, and then we got the SEC coming. Put it in the comment section, should we do a wide body, should we do the regular body with some in a different kind of wide body, like wide body the fender arches? Should we do a traditional wide body? Should we just leave it and just do the bumpers and rims? Because I do like the regular skinny bodies too. With the right set of wheels, they poke in the back, it just looks crazy. So put that in the comment section. Wide body, regular body, on the SEC. Again, this is gonna be the first Roadhouse wide body SEC. That's what we're gonna call it. Yeah. So yeah, guys. So eventually we will have this. Then the SEC. We also got another car, 380, which is, we'll see what happens with that, guys. A 380, maybe a 560 in the same color. Let's see what happens with that one. I didn't even introduce that on the channel. It's the first time I actually talked about that car on the channel. But yeah, so we got a few more cars coming. I do want to get another supercar eventually. I don't, it's a lot of cars. It's a lot of cars now to deal with, but we do need another supercar on this channel. I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not as excited about the Aston Martin. Now that I have the SEC and we might do a wide body on it, I'm not as excited about the Aston Martin as I was. And I'm not, so I don't know. Aston Martin still, is there. We might just check it off the list. Have to check it off the list one day. But we'll see, we really will see. There isn't too many cars I could fit in. Again, I'm 6'3". There isn't too many cars that I could fit in comfortably. So, put it in the comment section what you'd like to see on the channel. And yeah, hit the like, share, subscribe button for me, guys. Join the VSOP Club. Join on all post notifications. Also tell me, do you think the car should be lowered in the front? Should be lowered in the rear? Spacers? Or does it look fine like this with the stock look? I actually like the stock look, especially for driving. Even the tires, like they were thinner tires on the wheels before, so the lip did poke. We had more tire stretch, the lip poked out. But again, that's how the first lip broke. So, the New York streets, guys, with the salt and everything, our streets are terrible. So they're not really conducive to driving on this kind of wheel at all. You know, again, that's why we had a crack in the windshield on the Maserati. Again, because of rock chip coming off the highway. So, you know, because the roads is horrible, guys. So, again, hit that like, share, subscribe button for me. I'm gonna catch you guys in the next video. I'm out. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already, hit the like, share, subscribe button for me. Join the VSOP Club. Turn on all post notifications so you're in tune when I drop a video. Today, I'm gonna talk a little bit about MAE. I'm gonna talk a little bit about AMG, Robus, Lorenzer, all these German tuna companies, and about how they were in the 80s and 90s in terms of acceptance from people. Very niche crowd. You guys will see. Let's go. All right.